G'day everyone and welcome to the Redmen TV. This is the Redmen Originals Podcast. I'm Steve Hood, joined by Chris Pager, Chloe Bloxham and Dan Clubb for today's episode. Of course, we do have to recap the horror of Liverpool 1, Manchester United 2. We'll be doing that in the first part of the show. Second half, we'll be looking forwards to Frankfurt and a little bit to Brentford as well.
Will we looking forwards? I'm not looking forward to anything at the moment, Steve.
We literally, in terms of time, maybe in terms of the other way of looking.
Do you know what I'm looking forward to? November's international break.
Yeah, I've always said more international breaks. Yeah.
Chloe was sat there in the car on the way home from the game, wondering when the next international break was.
6 more games to go.
You haven't got long to wait.
Luckily for you, there's only Frankfurt, Brentford, Crystal Palace. They beat us before. Real Madrid, Manchester City. Get through them. And you'll have the bliss of the November break to look forward to. Before we get to that, though, a couple of quick housekeeping things and things I want to make you guys aware of. First of all, our newest podcast, Pressing Matters with Paul Dalglish, is out now. Episode 1 is on this YouTube channel or this podcast feed that you're listening to us on. And it couldn't really have got any bigger guests. So it's Paul Dalglish and Chris Pager alongside probably the greatest strike partnership in the history of Liverpool Football Club.
Definitely the very strike
King, Kenny Dalglish and Ian Rush. They were in the studio here for like 2 hours. It is available now.
I sat in the same seat Kenny was in.
You're in Kenny's chair, yeah.
You should
Same position.
Was this not the chair?
The chairs get swapped a lot.
If you lean back away from the mic as much as you can, then that's what Kenny did.
The chairs.
If you lean as far forward like Ian Rush did,
I'll do that for you.
They're available for you. It's on this channel. Go and check it out after you've watched all this.
First time they'd ever been on a podcast together, and it was absolutely superb.
It's brilliant. So listen to it, go and watch it. It's absolutely fantastic. It's on the YouTube channel, completely free, or on the Acast, the podcast feeds as well, completely free for you. Next one, thank you so much to the sponsors of this show, and indeed that show, oosh.co.uk. I don't know if you want to be there because they are giving tickets away to a Liverpool game for free. So if you head on over to oosh.co.uk via the link in our description, go and do it that way because we get the kudos if you do it. Tomorrow evening, they are giving away 2 tickets to Liverpool versus Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup. And if I scroll down, you get 2 tickets in the hospitality lounge. You get £200 spend the money and a night stay in a Liverpool city centre apartment for free. It's completely free to enter. So if you go and click the link in the description, get yourselves involved. And you could be at Liverpool versus Crystal Palace if you want to be there. And by the way, if you don't win, give Chloe a ring. She might sell you the tickets. Don't make Chloe's feel at this moment in time. There might be
An enforced international break which just sells all of her tickets.
There might be a second opportunity.
Goes on holidays now.
God help me.
Chloe
Go to San Marino for 2 weeks.
Chloe will be in Dubai before we know it. And then finally, as you can see in front of Chris, for those watching, for those listening, I'll have to describe this. This is our latest Christmas jumper. Our original pre-orders sale that went on, was it Friday we put them out for pre-orders?
Thursday, Friday, yeah.
They've all sold out. The original pre-order has sold out. Now, luckily, Chris has been busy at work, Chris, and you've managed to source a few more, but this is going to be the last run we do of these.
Yeah, we've ordered another 300 of them. Basically, 500 have sold out already. We've ordered another 300. There won't be time for us to place another order. So if you do want one of these, then get one, because they are absolutely flying out, and they are absolutely superb as well.
Yeah, go to redmenmerch.com, get your pre-orders in. Yeah, they take so long to make and knit and all that kind of stuff, so we can't have them on sale forever. The initial 500 run did sell out. Chris has wrangled us way into 300 more, but that will be it. If you want one and you were thinking about holding off, I don't think you've got that opportunity. You need to get over to Redmen Merch and get yourself one. Don't say we didn't warn you. If you miss out, we can only say the message too many times. I tried my best not to get to this, but we're going to have to talk about it, guys. Liverpool 1, Manchester United 2. We're going to have a little review of the game. Chris, I'm going to start with you. And I'm going to ask, I'm going to ask you all the same question to start with. And this is a general, overall, arching topic before we go into specific moments. Chris, can you put your finger on at this moment in time? If you just,
I don't think I've got no fingers, Steve.
What is going wrong with it? What is wrong with it at the moment?
There is loads of problems at the moment, isn't there? I think, our goalie not being fit is a problem for us. The fullbacks are an issue. Centre-backs aren't playing particularly well. Midfield's crap. Mo Salah has got missing. Gakpo's shooting isn't the best. Alexander Isak still doesn't look fit.
Other than that,
yeah. Probably that we keep changing the formation. We've got the most informed players probably can't play 90 minutes at the moment, and maybe Chiesa might fall into that category. And a really, really, really mediocre Manchester United side didn't need to play well to beat us at Anfield, and that's the thing that hurts the most.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they were rubbish and beat us. That was a damning indictment on us. Chloe, I'll come to you then. Chris has mentioned a few of them, but is there one over? If you could say, like, if I could just fix that, I would feel a million times better, because there are loads of that you could point at. Yeah. But there's got to be something here that we think the building blocks are getting better. Liverpool just can't be like this forever, because it's unsustainable. So something's got to change. If you could change one thing right now and go, I would do this if I was Arne Slot, what would that be?
I mean, it's hard to say how I'd stop it, but Liverpool concede a minimum of 3 massive opportunities every game. And I don't mean 3 chances. I mean 3 one-on-ones, 3 should be scoring goals, chances a minimum. And honestly, I say a game, I could put that to a half. I'm being deadly serious. Liverpool have no stability at the back, and we have a load of good attackers who, look, a lot of them aren't in great form, but it would be so much easier to win games of football if you weren't conceding 2 goals a game. You're having to score 3 or 4 goals to win a game of football. It's just not sustainable. You can't do that long enough. We got the run of the green and doing it at the start and getting last minute winners. You're now realising that it's not possible. So for me, it's the stability. It's being more measured and composed and controlled. We have not, at no stage this season have I thought Liverpool are in control of a game of football. At no stage. And it shows with how many big opportunities we give up. I mean, Bruno Fernandes should have made it 2-0. It's simple as that the other day. He doesn't. And
Mbeumo was a big chance as well. When Van der Kerk's tackle, that could easily have been a goal.
And, I mean, you look at Palace. I mean, Palace could have been 6-1, 6-0 up in the first half. Chelsea had a couple of really good chances. It's just, it's absolutely mad the amount of big opportunities we can see the game.
I was reading a Michael Reed article from his Substack this morning, and it's something that he brought up actually was the last 3 games we've conceded early, scored an equaliser, and then gone and conceded late. Yeah. Like, that's
crazy.
There's a pattern to it.
That's crazy. That's a bad pattern to get into.
Because we're not very good in the game, we have to throw fucking everything at it, and then that's
what happens. When you get back to 1-1, you then lose it again.
Because we've already thrown everything at it, because we've got loads of attackers. It's a mess.
First time, he said as well, first time since 2014 we've lost 4 games on the bounce.
Last time we lost 5 on the bounce was 1950.
way before that.
It's a historically poor run that Liverpool are on for a club of our stature, no doubt about it.
Oh, and it shows as well, doesn't it? And the performances have warranted it, I think it's fair to say as well, because we haven't been particularly good, we haven't been particularly unlucky, in what's happened. You could sort of pinpoint individual moments, but we just aren't very good right now. All of the above in terms of what the guys have said, in terms of what they'd fix, because Chloe's right, sort of the control that seemed to sort of define us and set us apart last season has completely evaporated, gone out the window for some reason. But if I had to sort of, you could pick a whole number of things we've already suggested, it would probably be, as we sit here right now, and this might change in half an hour, 45 minutes, I'd probably address the form of the establishment in terms of Mo Salah, and sort of get him back up and running and get him looking like the Mo Salah of old, because that covers a multitude of sins at Liverpool Football Club, and it has often got us out the shit when Salah's been on it. But you could extend that to Alexis McAllister, some more of our key players, you know what I mean? But again, the conversations are wide and far-reaching in terms of what's wrong with Liverpool right now.
The fact is, I think 3 different answers, a little bit of numerous different answers.
And that's only 3.
And that's, like, mine is right. Is that we should start games really poorly. And the reason we have to throw 7 attackers on the pitch is because we can't score. And then
it's because for 70 minutes we're not great.
And then we do score, which is great. We score because you've got 7 attackers on. But by the way, guess what's dead hard to do when you've got 7 attackers on? Defend. And at 3 times Liverpool have been caught out by sucker punch goals at the back post, because they've got guys who don't know how to defend. Or it's
not their first instinct.
It isn't their natural instinct to cover the back post or to be in the right position. Both, Palace and Man United, you've got attacking players running away from a back post.
It's when the manager comes out and says that a few weeks ago, and then you go and do the same thing again at the end of the United game.
It's infuriating. It's infuriating. That's what I'm saying. That it is, and is that on him? Is that on the players? It's a collective on everybody. In terms of the game, then, though, I think we've touched upon some of the issues, and we'll go in more in depth on as we go through, just as an overarching point there. But the first goal, Dan, talk about like goals being too easy. Listen, we all know that game should be stopped. And that is not being caveated. Alexis McAllister's had his head cut open. The game should have been stopped. It wasn't. You've got to play on. And from there, it's two very simple passes, and there's a guy marching through on your goalkeeper. And your back line, there's no offside trap because they're all over the shop. That, in the first minute of a game, and I understand the circumstances around Alexis, notwithstanding that, but that's really sloppy. To be caught out in the first minute by effectively two straight balls, that just shows, I don't know if it's mental or something, but something is badly wrong there, because there's no way that guy can be bang, bang in on your goalie straight away.
No, it's unforgivable, especially so early in a game of football. And as you rightly say, you've just got to play to the whistle. Ultimately, it is the wrong decision, if you can call it that, the non-decision by the referee. He clearly sees McAllister's got a head injury, doesn't decide not to deal with it, but whatever. That's not Arnold's. We just need to play the game of football as it unfolds. Go on.
Can I ask you a question on that? Because obviously we didn't see the telly. Paul mentioned to us, was RefCam used yesterday?
Not at all. No, which is quite... The more you deep that, the more you consider maybe they didn't use it exclusively throughout the game, because people might have questioned why they didn't use it in that instance. Because if they did use RefCam then and there, you might have seen quite a clear line of vision to Alexis McAllister holding his head.
Saying the ref came out and said didn't see it?
Yeah, that was the explanation given on comms. Yeah. Literally, once they're showing the replays or once the game's up and running again, they quickly came out and said that the reason the ref didn't stop the game is because he didn't see McAllister had a head injury. But when you look at the stills, and he's got... Listen, I'm not making excuses for he's looking at it. I'm not making excuses for Liverpool, because what happens thereafter is really, really poor. And I don't think anybody involved at the scene of the crime, if you like, whether it be Van Dijk, Konate, I sort of throw into that mix as well, and Mamardashvili, I don't think anybody covers themselves in glory, because Van Dijk kind of just passes it on a little bit to Konate, who semi-tracks the run, therefore the offside flag doesn't go up because he's not offside because Konate's gone. Konate doesn't fully commit until very late, and Mamardashvili never comes off his line. It kind of goes through him. So I think all three of them are somewhat culpable for what was a bit of a shit show, really.
I think Virgil has had a fantastic season for the most part. Even though we've conceded tons of goals and stuff, he's been often the firefighter. I thought he was really poor yesterday, Chloe. And in that goal in particular, again, he's got all the caveats on Virgil van Dijk. We know what he is. If you nitpicking criticisms, it's sometimes the casual nature of his play. And a little bit later on, he gets into a foot race with Brian Mbeumo and turns the afterburners on and keeps up with him. And that's almost more infuriating. Because I think, why didn't you do that the first time? Because he almost leaves it to Ibu, and Ibu's never going to get there. He's too far away. It feels like Virgil, maybe again, first minute, getting into, I don't know, he was involved in the collision, whatever, but you hope they just sprint. If you just sprint, you've got more chance of affecting that guy than giving him a clear strike at goal. I thought Virgil probably could have done better. I don't know if you agree.
He could have done better the entire game, and Mbeumo absolutely caused them havoc the whole game. And look, a lot of players, a lot of teams come and play against us and go, right, we'll put someone on Ibu because it's Virgil van Dijk. Manchester United went, yeah, we fancy Mbeumo in this. And even the first and the second headers that he might have won, the ball still always landed to a Manchester United foot the second time round. And his defending for that is appalling. Liverpool in that first half of football did not want to track a single runner. And I'd love to say that was the only time that happened, but it happened time and time and time again. And actually, I think when Virgil points, he could actually be pointing at Konate to go and track Cunha, because there's a player behind Konate and Cunha also making that run. So you've got to have some accountability and say, no, this is my man. I'll deal with it. And like you said there, it's not like Virgil couldn't have kept up or tracked the run, because we know he's got the pace to be able to do that. I don't know whether it's lazy or whether it's a kind of, no, I'll go and assess the issue out here. Someone else deal with that, because if it goes wrong, it's on you and not on me. I'm not sure, but it is just absolutely appalling defending. But it felt like for the entirety of that first half, all I had to do was break one little bit of press, do two passes, and they were in on your goal every time. Yeah. And yeah, no one tracked Bruno Fernandes for that run inside the penalty area either. No one tracked Mbeumo from the Kirkes little thing. It's just absolutely mental the way we do not want to track runners or put the work in to do that.
Chris, I'm in the host seat in place rather of Paul, so bear with me while I use maybe a Paul type analogy. I remember once when I was on holiday and I went to Gran Canaria, and there was one night where the lock on the door broke, and the repairman wasn't available, and he said, we can't fix it till tomorrow. So the door was, and I was like, I really struggled to sleep that night, thinking anyone at any point could just walk into this room and take all my stuff or whatever and don't kill me or something. And I wonder if Liverpool, when you're playing and you know the back door is open all the time, there must be a sense of nerves around that. You know, if you're the players in front, it's a bit all over the place. If you're Virgil, if you're Konate, because with no security behind you, it must impact the game. And Liverpool do look like a team who are nervous when they have to defend.
Yeah, and I think to sort of take that, I just want to, for what it's worth, for me, I understand why Virgil's telling Konate what to do. That's his role, but I don't think he was in the best position to tell Konate what to do in that instance, because Konate can see more players around him than Virgil can. So he should have shouted, "No, he's yours," because I've got Cunha over my shoulder here that I need to deal with. I think Virgil, and this is where it comes back to your point, I think Virgil's nervous being next to Kerkez at the moment, and that's why he's decided, you need to take him. I'm going towards where Kerkez is. And I think that fundamentally is probably the issue with that goal for us, is the decision's been made on how uncomfortable Virgil van Dijk is being alongside Milos Kerkez.
Let's talk about that then, because there are differing opinions, and I know this because I'm one of the differing opinions on this one of Liverpool's left-back situation. There are lots of calls throughout different social media from different people saying just bring Andy Robertson back in. Does that solve this, Chloe? Does that make you feel better if it's Robertson next to Kerkez? How would you, if you're Arne Slot? Because I'm not sure it does. That me and Dan are on different sides of this fence, so you're kind of in the middle here. I'm of the opinion that I think Robert's been worse.
I think they're both horrendous right now, to be perfectly honest, because I think, what I will say is, I think on the ball, Robertson's better. Yeah. However, I also saw the same goal that I've been seeing every time Robertson's been on the pitch for the last 2 seasons when Chelsea scored the other day. Yeah. I saw it against Semenyo at Bournemouth, where the ball comes across and no one's marking back post.
Didn't have a great international break either.
No, they both have so many vulnerabilities right now. What I would say about the way we play is, we're doing this inverted fullback role with Milos Kerkez, and the lad doesn't want to kick a football with his right foot. So you can't do this inverted fullback role with a lad who can't go either way. He can't dummy someone and go somewhere. If you give him a ball under pressure with his back to goal on his right foot, he's not going to want to use that. There was a time yesterday where we gave him a ball and you just tell him to use his right foot, and instead he kicks it out for a throw-in because he's so uncomfortable. And that's the problem. If he's overlapping and going down that line where he can open his body up, use his left foot to either reverse and recycle the ball or whip it in, maybe you've seen a little bit better of him. But we're asking him to do this role that he wasn't doing at Bournemouth, but also that you just need someone who's really quite comfortable on both feet to be able to do it. That's not him. That's also not Andy Robertson either, by the way, because he's also a lad who doesn't really like to use his weak foot. I don't know what the option is. I think on the ball, Robertson is the better option right now. But defensively, I think they're both as bad as each other. The problem that I've got is that everyone's targeting the back post in open play, but also set pieces, but open play. Because good luck, Milos Kerkez. Bruno Guimaraes scores with a header back post. Obviously, this one, it's not Milos Kerkez's fault. It's a set piece where everyone's decided to push out, and we've kept them on side. But there's been balls back post where we've just conceded goals time and time again. And I'm not sure what the option is, because I don't think either of them are good enough right now to be playing in this Liverpool side. What I would say is I'd probably get Kerkez out the firing line and put Robertson in, because at least he has some sort of experience, and maybe that game was a Robertson game for the experience more than anything.
And if you're saying that Van Dijk needs to or feels indebted to get across and help Kerkez, at least he's got an understanding, a bit more trust, a bit more experience of playing alongside. And
he needs to go and help Rob out a little bit more.
Listen, Kerkez looks a nervous wreck to me. I don't know what's going on. I'm at a loss to explain what's going on with that fella, because he was phenomenal last season.
Even when he's got space, he just doesn't...
Deliveries into the box are really poor again yesterday, I felt like, and he's just doing mad things. He's diving in left, right and centre to everything and mistiming challenges. People are skipping by him. That throw-in is inexplicable. Like, honestly, some of the stuff I'm seeing that kid do is just beyond belief right now. And it's hard to put your finger on what you do and what the solution is, because you're right. Andy Robertson isn't Andy Robertson of 3, 4, 2 seasons ago even. He's not. But right now, I think he's the safer bet.
Yeah, I think he 100% is as well, Steve, to be honest with you. We've been saying it since the start of the season. I think it's easy I think it'd be much easier if you were to play Robertson for 5 games. I think you're getting a better performance out of Robertson. I think when you're dropping him in for a game here and there, then you're going to see slightly more mistakes. I'm not saying he wasn't perfect last year. I'm not saying he was perfect last year. He was far from perfect. He wasn't at his best. But we won the league with him playing in the defence And we conceded loads less goals from set pieces by comparison to this shorter thing this season. And we've probably conceded the same amount of goals at the backstick this season alone than we probably did all of last season, to be fair. So it's very easy to misremember things, isn't it?
Yeah.
We didn't concede that many at the backstick last season. Like, we just didn't. No. And they definitely weren't as impactful as they are this season as well. So for me, I think Robertson should be in the starting 11. Do I think he should be in there 2 games a week when there's a midweek fixture? No, I don't. I think that's when you have the opportunity to bring in Milos Kerkez and try and get him up to form and stuff like that as well, because he is the guy that you've decided is the future at left back. Sam, no problem with that whatsoever. Let's get him in there. I don't think the defence is playing to his strengths either. I'll be honest, I'm not seeing the inverted fullback thing. Like, I'm seeing him as sitting deep a lot of the time and then going late to attacks. Still pushes inside. Maybe that's what Chloe's talking about. Still pushes inside. Is playing like sometimes going on an underlapping run, not getting the football, going on an overlapping run. He's then just used so Gakpo can cut in and take a shot or whip it to the backstick. He doesn't really get the football. So I don't know. The understanding's not great at the moment between them two. And I just don't think we're playing to his strengths right now either.
When I say inverted, I mean Virgil's got the ball here. It's Cody Gakpo who in the touchline, and it is Kerkez here. Virgil's here, Kerkez is there. And Gakpo's there. Once Gakpo gets that ball, we all know he wants to cut inside. And the problem is when Gakpo then does, come inside a little bit, he's got the ball at the feet. You're not seeing Kerkez move from this position to then go outside. That's not what I'm seeing, at least from that. If anything, I'm seeing like a Curtis Jones. If he's playing and on the pitch, he's the one trying to do that run. And for me, we signed him when he was this, out and out attacking wing back, was always on the overlap. Sometimes did do the underlap and stuff, and I think he scores an incredible goal against Newcastle maybe for that. But what I just when we build up, he's in the midfield and someone else has pushed on a little bit, and I don't see how when then Gakpo gets the ball, he's not making that. And maybe that's because Conor Bradley is more doing that on the right-hand side. I'm not sure. I don't get what we're trying to do with it.
My thinking is, I think he's playing to instruction because he keeps doing the same thing.
Yeah, I agree.
And what he's doing is not what he's the best at. Yeah. Liverpool signed him as this bombing on left wing, left back, and almost winger. He was just up and down that touchline, down to the byline, getting crosses in, being dangerous, being able to get back because he's got the pace.
And a few years ago.
And we're asking him to play like a conservative left back, and that might be Andy Robertson. I really think Andy Robertson's legs have gone, and that's the concern I've got with that one. But both things are valid. I think I'm going to speak about this later, the plan and stuff like that. It just feels like tactically there's something not right, and we will speak on a slot and all that towards the end, because I do want to go through a few more individuals though. I don't know if this is harsh, and he only has one chance now, but I'll start with Alexander Isak. You spent £120 million on this centre forward, and you have to, we know how good he's been and what he had. He didn't have a pre-season, and maybe that is still coming into effect. Arne Slot suggested before the break it shouldn't be. He is very, very anonymous at times, and the one chance that you would put on, you want him to take, he doesn't take it. And I think, and we'll speak about Salah later in a similar regard, if he's not offering much yet because maybe he's not quite up to it, when them chances come to you, you're thinking, oh my God, you need to score those. Because Liverpool have not got anywhere close to the best Alexander Isak at this moment in time. He's miles away from that. We all know the reasons why, but at some point he's got to get there, because if he's going to be getting picked ahead of a guy who's in good form, he probably needs to start doing a bit more than what he's showing at this moment in time.
That's the problem, isn't it? It's highlighted not just because we're not winning games of football and he's not contributing in terms of hitting the back of the net. Obviously, Arne Slot doesn't do any favours either with his pre-match comments about him being fit now, and you can start judging him and he doesn't really perform in that same game. It's not a great place to be in for him. But I guess the biggest issue for Isak individually is that Ekitike breathing down his neck. I think he actually is okay when he comes on. Obviously, the form prior to Isak's sort of arrival was exceptional from him, so we are all left wondering why he's gone with Isak as opposed to Ekitike. But yeah, in terms of his performance yesterday, I thought it was okay. He has 2 chances in my mind. The one you're talking about, I think he should definitely do better with, and he really tamely sort of snatches, scuffs one, drags one a little bit. Just maybe that is just a striker, not so much sort of searching for his fitness, but searching for his his level, his confidence a little bit, and that sharpness that we all know he's got. We've seen it firsthand many, many times, haven't we? So, yeah, he's an unbelievable footballer. I have very little doubt about his ability. But again, when you strip it back and you sort of boil it down to what the issues are right now, and you look at the lads who are getting in ahead of some of the lads that are in form, he, for me, is probably sort of the first port of call in terms of, like, we've got a lad there who's absolutely fit and firing and capable of playing large amounts of minutes, full of confidence, full of goals, no issues. We're not having conversations around the need to get up to speed. He's just ready. He's there. He's sat on the bench. Whereas we've got Isak, who it feels like we're trying to manage. And we're in the win now business, aren't we? Like, people yesterday pre-match talk about the fact we've got 3 games in 7 days, whatever. Like, whatever, we didn't win yesterday. So it was ash, you know what I mean? Like, makes no odds. We need to win games of football now. And Alexander Isak, at his absolute peak, is perfectly fine in terms of what we're trying to do. But right now, this version of him, yeah, it's not it.
It's interesting, Chloe, because we're going back to the game a little bit. The next few major events that happen, Cody Gakpo hits the post. I mean, if that one goes in, maybe this can be very, very different. Liverpool do create a lot of chances. It's worth mentioning. Like, there's no lack of creativity. I know some of that comes when they've got loads of attackers on, but even before that, Liverpool are creating. Isak has a really good chance, like we just mentioned. Gakpo has the chance that he hits the post with. So I don't know if it's a finishing problem, maybe it is, but what did you make of Cody Gakpo? Because he scores the goal, he misses an absolute sitter that could have made it 2-2. He hits the post twice and causes a deflection to hit the post a third time. So in terms of like the output you get from Cody Gakpo, you're not far off what you want.
But then he hit it 4 times by the way on the goal.
Yeah, and then he tried his best not to score that one. It feels like there's a lot of being spoken about Gakpo at the moment because the output almost is there, but maybe the overall performance and maybe the predictability is. I feel like that's frustrating people as well a little bit.
Yeah, it is. It's the fact that we know it's rehearsed and we've seen it time and time again.
He's pretty good at it as well. That's the problem.
He is. And look, out of the amount of problems we did have yesterday, I don't think he's the one that we need to pick up on. I mean, his lack of finishing, yes, absolutely, with that header. But I mean, he was the one out of the front 3 who started, who was the most hectic, who caused problems for Liverpool. He was the one who was really trying for Liverpool. At times, it looked like some of the others couldn't really be bothered. The problem that you've got with him is, he hits the post 3 times. I think the first one's a bit unlucky. The one in the second half, which, comes off the inside of the post, is mad because I don't actually think he has to hit it that nicely for it to go in. He just catches it far too cleanly and tries to put it in the like top corner far too much. But like you said there, his goal, I think it's good movement, it's good to be where he is. He does well to, put it in the inside net and then not past the post like he tried. But then, the header is a sitter. I'm sorry, it is. Yeah. You should be burying that. And on top of that, I think it's more the fact that there was a couple of times where we, we're searching for the goal to equalise again, and the balls back post, they're just aimless balls to no one. And a lot of the time it's balls to Mo Salah, and it's like, he's about 5 foot, what do you want him to do? But I don't think he's the main problem here. I don't think out of yesterday's performance, he's probably the only one who can walk out and go, I actually, did something. I tried my hardest. Some things didn't quite work out, but it was, Slot's been talking about margins. Cody Gakpo can sit here and go, margins in my game of football. Yeah, where I don't think Slot can come out about the actual full game and talk about finer margins because there was much more about that. But I don't think Cody Gakpo right now is the problem. He's not in the greatest of form, but he's in the best form out of the front 3 that started.
I'm going to do a little exercise later on the show, by the way, maybe in part 2 of like trying to pick our informed Liverpool 11. If you're picking like...
They're in 11. You're
5 aside.
We'll pick the informed players and then try and pad one out around with every...
I'll give you 3 players. And
we include the women's under 21s.
If you fill your boots, our 5 aside team might get in this as well. Chris, the next thing I want to speak about then, as the game progresses, obviously we get to half time, we're still trailing into the second half, it's not quite going well. The manager then goes TK Jones and Verts on. He takes off Alexis Gravenberch and Conor Bradley. Now obviously Ryan Gravenberch's done his ankle and we'll see how long he's out for. I think he's a doubt for midweek at the very, very least, and maybe longer, we'll see. Is that panic? Is that the manager realising what he's not doing isn't working? Because I keep saying this, he keeps making drastic changes to a starting 11 from the bench. So either, like for example, he's picked the exact same 11 that got beat by Chelsea, and in that game he had to do the exact same thing and just throw loads of mad subs on. So
it's worse than that, though, Steve, because he's not changing it to the same thing every time.
No.
He's just changing it to something new every time. There also has loads of forwards on the pitch. So I think when you are, and I think it's fair to say this, by the way, when you are not firing on all cylinders, and that might be a little bit unfair, actually, in some ways, you need time on the training ground. You need time to settle this side in, to understand what everybody's role is and everything else. And we're not doing that in the game. There's no way we're working on a two-man midfield with these 4 forwards in training. There's just not in any way.
There isn't a chance at any point in the actual...
And any of these formations that we've done in the second halves in the last 2 games are not being worked on. What's being worked on isn't working. Never mind what's not being worked on. You are literally just hoping at this point, I think, for individual players' qualities. That is not a team. You're hoping for the qualities of the players to shine through, and right now the players are at times shining because Kay's just coming on and he's getting himself an assist and Gakpo's getting a goal. It's nothing tactical. It's just sheer force of willpower by players. Yeah, it's just throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks.
This one's right. The Arne Slot question. I mean, I think some of this stuff is dramatic and it's online. You know, the sack
we were crap in midfield with 3, and he decided to go to 2.
Jones and
we were
Verts
better.
Is a double.
Are you kidding me? Like, come on. And we were better, to be fair. Like,
yeah. No, I agree. That's my point a little bit. Is like the slot out stuff and all. Like, fill your boot on the internet. I'm not getting involved in that nonsense. It's all nonsense at this point in time. If that's what you want to do, Sam, you be you. But it is worth mentioning, Dan, when you keep having to drastically change what you start with. Like, and I mean drastically. There is no way in a million years at any point in my life did I ever think we'd see a Florian Wirtz, Curtis Jones midfield 2 with 4 attackers in front of it, and that's what we end up with. And at Chelsea we end up with a midfielder at right back and a midfielder at centre back. It feels like if plan A isn't working, which it clearly isn't, there is no plan B at this moment. It's plan whatever the game takes, and that is a concern. That is on Slot and his coaching staff to sort that out. It should be, listen, if that isn't working, we know if it's supposed like the right back sound, and then we put another midfielder on and we stick the same thing. But it does feel at this moment he's like, I think
we need to drop that Sabozlai to right back.
You hate that.
Fucking hell, mate. He's not a right back.
I think it's just a case of
he's not a right back. He gets ripped every time.
I think it's just. I think the manager's saying this. My point of as many lads who I think might score a goal on the pitch at one time, and then it'll kind of work itself out.
But he does that before he brings Frimpong on to the point. You know what I mean? Like Frimpong's there at that point.
He's having a tough time, Arne Slot. There's no doubt about it. Plan A isn't working, and it doesn't look like at this moment in time they've ever. I don't know. This might be too harsh. They never maybe anticipated plan A wouldn't work because there clearly isn't a plan B. Because in every single game, the plan B has been so drastically different that it isn't a plan B. It's just on this day, maybe on a whim or something I don't understand.
No, likewise. And it's hard to pinpoint why or what, because he's got such a rich array of options at his disposal when you look at the bench in terms of the quality that's on there and the expenditure on there in certain cases as well. Like, he's not short of, potential. He's not short of lads you can turn to in terms of what would be seamless from just doing plan A a little bit better or making sort of meticulous little tweaks here and there. And it's funny because that's what we sort of gave Slot so much praise for and really sort of give him his flowers for last season, about being quite a sort of calm, calculated tactician. And what we needed at the time, we'd had sort of the blood and thunder and the emotion of Jurgen Klopp. We've got this guy that's coming now who's really controlled, well thought out, just tweaks things, and we just tried different things, subtle little variations on a theme for certain matches, in-game little tweaks. Half-time was often sort of the staging point, wasn't it? We came back second half and all of a sudden we were a different beast. It feels like all that's gone out the window now. And when it isn't working, and it isn't working, absolutely, for an hour, 70 minutes, however you want to sort of frame it, and he's going, well, this is completely and utterly broken, so we've just got to throw absolutely everything out, and it's just not in keeping with what we thought we knew about Arne Slot. That's why I can't work it out.
Having to do that once or twice in a Premier League season, that's fine, because everyone does that.
At some point, the centre half goes up front.
We've all seen it. Stephen Corker goes.
Let's put Sabozlai right back.
United.
It's not fair.
No, but United do it every week. Ty Maguire ends up top, more or less every week, apart from yesterday, obviously.
So having a mad tactic for once or twice a season is absolutely fine, but I'm seeing a mad tactic and a mad different tactic every single. I mean, the Wataru Endo sub had my head on Mars the other day, and now he's gone the polar opposite of that this week and put Wirtz and Curtis Jones in the midfield too. I'm not quite sure what he's trying to do, but the game management is appalling as well. The fact that there's not one thought of, when we get back into this game, okay, what do I do with all of these players I've actually now got on the pitch? Like, there is not, and that also relies on the players as well, by the way. There is not one bit of game management. Liverpool scored the equaliser and had close to 20 minutes with added time left of that game. There was absolutely no need to go gung-ho. What it was, right, let's recycle this ball and keep the pressure on them. Keep them penned back. It doesn't need to be an end-to-end game of football like it was. It had to be Liverpool back in the game. Let's keep the pressure on. But we don't need to make it a problem for ourselves.
I think he has to make a sub and he has to get the balance.
Do you know what though? Liverpool conceded. And they did it after we conceded the second. And I was there going, why didn't we do this before?
But he was trying to get Frimpong on.
Why didn't we do this? Keep our foot on the football and pass it round after we'd scored. Yeah. Not after they'd scored.
Whether they sat back a bit, I don't know. Because they were rubbish in the second half. That's the point. Is that it is a bit mad. And to circle back very quickly, because on that one, I thought last season, I loved Arne Slot in terms of half-time. I thought he was fantastic. Liverpool were rubbish in a lot of first halves last year. Go back most of the first halves. Not rubbish, but they weren't pairing. It wasn't like they weren't running away with games. But the manager to get them in at half-time and there'd be one or two little tweaks or something he does a little bit differently here and there, whether they go man-to-man or they change the way. They did it against Arsenal, to be fair, in the league this year. But it feels like at this moment in time, he doesn't know because he's not settled on what he's doing. The move away isn't just, there isn't a natural move away for him.
And that's where it comes back to what you started the podcast with for me is that, what's that one thing? I mean, the guys answered there. For me, it is settling on what you want to achieve.
What you want to be, yeah.
What you want to be. If Florian Wirtz is your number 10, let's make Florian Wirtz our number 10. And let's just try and get that working. Because you've kind of done that with Isak. When I actually don't think he should have done it with Isak. I think what you needed to do with Isak is understand that it's about getting 3 points while bringing him up to speed. I'd have taken my time. I was sitting here with you a few months ago and I'd take my time with him. Just drip feed him in.
You've signed him for 5 years, don't stress.
Yeah, exactly. You've got a guy there in form in Hugo Ekitike who's absolutely firing. Let's play the hot hand for a little bit. We don't need to rush that. But I think it's slightly different with Wirtz. I think what you're asking is you're asking the team to play a completely different way and him to pull the strings. I think you need to get back to that. And you need to decide, what is it I'm planning for? What was it in the summer? My fucking dream, how Liverpool played.
What was on that presentation?
What was on the presentation? Do that. And listen, it might not work for the next couple of weeks, but we're also 8 games into a league season. We should have already had some answers. Those teething problems should have already been answered by now. But so for me, it's what are you going to be this season, and let's try and aim towards getting us there as fast as we possibly can.
That makes sense, absolutely. I think
the other thing is, so we just mentioned.
Sorry, Dan, very quick. Liverpool are better when them subs come on. All 3 of them are good. I think Ekitike is pretty good. He's a bit wild with the shot. I think Curtis plays pretty well. I think Wirtz plays well. And again, I don't know if that's because we've got loads of attackers on, it's easier for them. But I think that just the level of the player they replaced. Alexis had an off day again. He's having an off season. Gravenberch was decent, but he got injured. Conor Bradley
looks like he's never played.
Yeah, he wasn't having a great time either. He was whatever. The 3 lads who come on do all impact the game in a positive light. That's fair. That is fair to say to them.
They're all in good moments, aren't they? Psychologically, which can't be said for many of the others that we're discussing here. And that was the point I was going to make in terms of like the start of the game. It doesn't get much worse. Like if you are having a bit of a mini crisis of confidence and you go 1-0 down in the space for a minute, you do start to wonder what the hell's going on. But no, absolutely, the lads on the bench, many of them are in a good time. They are in good moments, like they are playing well, they are having impacts on games of football regularly, and they might be questioning why they're not in from the start, but to give them some credit, they're not sort of shirking that. They're coming on and they're showing the manager even more so why they need to be involved from the start, and they're trying to sort of send a bit of a message potentially. And I thought Ekitike, whilst was a little bit wayward in terms of some of his sort of final ball and sort of final actions, at least he looked really dangerous, like really dangerous
when we were in the 4-2-4. And then we made that sub with Frimpong and he could not get in the game.
Yeah, I agree.
We have 5 attackers on them.
I get that, but like, it was him that we couldn't get into the game.
He looked like the one to me as well, I thought, for that little spell of time. I thought if anything was going to, I know it doesn't end up coming through him, but it looked like he was going to be. And he also looked, he looked like he had the bit between his teeth as well. I know Chiesa was busy and what have you, but Ekitike looked like the one sort of most put out. In terms of like, this isn't happening, not on my, and I love that sort of stuff.
Can I give you the devil on my shoulder, what he was saying to me last night? So I think I said this in the car on the way home, Chloe. I was like, I'm looking at Ekitike come on, and that first one where he drives at it, and I think he drags the shot just wide, doesn't he? No problem with that whatsoever. The second one, the devil on my shoulders going, he's never passing that to Isak. he wants to score the goal
because
he's fighting for a first team place here. And I watched it back and I was like, yeah, it was on. But he just wasn't going to do that.
Salah's the same thing. Salah could pass the vert. I think
but there's different motives as to why.
I just think strikers are selfish, or strikers are. So I don't know. You might be right. You might be wrong. What I would say is that, again, I'm going to go to the informed chat in a minute, and a lot of these lads might be in that team. One guy who wouldn't, I think it's fair to say, be in that team at this moment, Chris, and there are now questions, probably for the first time in like 8 years. It was like, does Liverpool's best team, as it stands right now, not have Mohamed Salah in it? And especially, and Dan touched on Keys before, when he comes on again, he has an impact in the game, as he's tended to do. I don't know if he's ready to start, but it can't be much worse. Liverpool have got a problem with Mo Salah at this moment, and we don't, again, whatever reason it is, whether it's physical, emotional, just confidence, form, legs have gone.
AFCON coming up, doesn't want to get injured.
AFCON's on its way. There's a million things here, but like, when Mo Salah is given the chance to cheat, which we always say, he doesn't have to defend, the team plays around him, and he's in bad form, you might as well have 10. And the lack of confidence is summed up by how wide he strikes that volley at the back post. It's just nowhere near the Salah level. Liverpool do have a problem with Mohamed Salah, and I don't know exactly, other than getting out the team for a bit and maybe trying to light a fire up his backside, where they can go, because he's not getting quicker. He's not going to change about Mo Salah's game. Now, this is what the Mo Salah Liverpool have got. What are your thoughts on the whole Mo Salah situation?
Yeah, I think you summed it up quite well. If we're going to allow him to stay forward and not track back, then he has to deliver. If he's not delivering, then you can't ask him to just stay forwards. Yeah. You have to get him involved in defensive works. And I don't know whether he's of the age now where he can get involved in the defensive side of things. I think Liverpool right now need a full team of people to get the football back. And unfortunately, Mo's not going to be able at 34 years old or whatever it is, 33 is it, to be able to do that for us. So I think we're also hamstrung by the fact that I don't think we've got a good option over there. Like, people keep saying to me, Frimpong, mate, Frimpong's got one thing. He's just going to try and go round you with his pace. Like, that's it.
At least he's got that though. What's Salah got for going for him?
Like, I'm not sure that's a long-term solution to a problem, to be honest with you, mate. And listen, maybe you could try Keys out there. I certainly would have a little go with Keys out there, but Keys is not a right winger either. Keys is most comfortable on left. I actually think at this stage of his career, post-injuries, Keys looks like a striker to me, more than anything, or a foil for a striker at the very least. Someone who's just in and around. Exactly. Feels more like that now.
He's really good in the box, isn't he? Like,
he just knows where the goal is. Yeah. So for me, that's it. Gakpo ain't going to work over there. We sold the lad in Diaz, who probably could play on that right-hand side and make it a little bit of a thing. So Bosley did it, but like, he's playing right back every game, Steve, so how are you going to fucking sort that out? So, I mean, look, if the option is, to be honest with you, Frimpong, which is maybe the best option, or Mo Salah, it's very hard not to put Mo Salah in there.
I still think I'm going Keys.
I'm going Keys.
And I think, because I know he can do it. It might not work, but I don't think it can
look, you're trying every other thing.
No, that's fine.
What are you getting at? What are you getting at, Chiesa? This week, let's use this week as an example in terms of the fixture schedule and the pattern. What we talk about here? Because I think
60 at midweek, and 60 at the weekend.
No, he's not going to happen.
Don't you think?
No, he can't do that.
60-30 maybe.
But this is why I'm saying this is why it's a problem. You know what I mean? Because you want to get Salah out the firing line, he needs to come out the team form-wise, which I don't disagree with, by the way. But you can't take him out the team for 90 minutes, and you can't get him out the team twice.
Do you have to take him out of the team?
You can't get him out the team twice back to back, Chloe. It's just, this is the problem we've got.
I think you can, by the way. I think you can. I think you can do one.
Gattuso essentially said the reason he hasn't picked him recently is because he can't go back to back. We saw it. He played brilliantly against Southampton. Didn't travel to Galatasaray because he was injured or fitness problems. Couldn't finish a training session off the back of it. Like, he plays 90 minutes and can't train the next day. I love him. I think he's boss. Great impact yesterday. But we are restricted in what we can get out of him, unfortunately.
I'm thinking more, maybe you just need to light a fire under Mo Salah.
Yeah, I get that.
I think if you go an hour on Wednesday of Chiesa, and if Salah comes off the bench and does half an hour sound, great. And at the weekend if it's Frimpong for an hour and then Salah again.
Okay, mix it up then. Yeah,
but I just, at this moment, I'm just trying to get a reaction out of him. That's what I'm thinking, because at this moment in time we're playing with 10. He doesn't defend anymore, and that's absolutely whatever it is. He's not going to. He hasn't got the legs to get back. If that's the case, then you need to score goals and look like you're going to be dangerous, and he isn't really doing that. So Liverpool do have a problem there. Yeah, to be fair, the manager's left him out in Galatasaray, and Liverpool went much better. So, like,
that was probably going to be Chiesa, wasn't it? Ironically, until he couldn't travel. Then it was Frimpong, and let's have it right, Frimpong was terrible on the night, wasn't he?
So it's been...
His best performance, I said this upstairs, his best performance, Frimpong, for me, was that cameo yesterday.
I think it made Mo Salah look worse, right? I think it made Salah look worse, Chloe, with how easy he kept skipping past his fullback. But that made it damns Salah with, like, why aren't you doing that? Because and I know Frimpong's quick, but like, he wasn't beating him with raw pace. He was just a little bit of trickery and a good ball in. And it just isn't happening for Mo at this moment. And I love Mo Salah. I don't think anyone in the world loves Mo Salah more than I do, but he's having a tough time at the moment. And it is like playing with 10, unfortunately. It
is. And like you said, if the reward is worth the risk, then you absolutely do it. But right now, the reward, there is none. So it's not worth the
Rio,
risk
by the way?
you're doing it.
Is Rio an option for right wing?
No, I've never seen him ever play right wing.
Okay, no, just think.
No, it's fair enough.
Yeah. The problem with now is a lot of the balls he's putting in the box just look like aimless balls. Like he's not. Do you know when you watch someone?
Pass for Gakpo though, like it's there still.
It's a great ball.
That pass for Gakpo, fucking hell, the one where Gakpo, it's the post, the first post.
Oh yeah.
He's got moments in him. He's
inside, by the way, is really good. Yeah, but this is what I mean. He's not as impactful in the game, and I think at times it looks like he's chose. You know when someone's deep in a game and you think they've chose the lazy option because they maybe can't be asked doing that. At times, some of the passes...
scored against Arsenal. He literally said, I can't fucking run. I'm just going to win.
Gerrard in the cup final.
His legs are gone. Yeah. True.
At times it looks like lazy, like Salah's choosing the lazy option because he can't bother, but it's not that. I think he's not as impactful. He's not getting into the correct areas, but when he is getting in the correct areas, he's missing absolute sitters. He should have had at least 3 goals across Chelsea and that Man United game. He could have easily buried 2, or he could have at least set up someone in the middle of the park to put the ball in the back of the net. So yeah, it's absolutely mad. But I don't think you keep going with them. And maybe it's a decline, maybe it's falling off a cliff, maybe it's just him not being in form, I'm not sure, because I was so happy when Egypt qualified for the World Cup and he had such a major part in that, because I was like, there you go, lad, there's the like little pick-me-up, the injection to really bounce back into Liverpool and really, grab the team like you have done and put them on your back. But it's not felt like any of that has any... It's like they're all soulless at times when they come back to Liverpool. And one part of me can totally understand it. The other part of me wants to win games of football. And sadly, time waits for absolutely no one. Life just goes on. And that is the hard part, because you don't want to be too critical, but at the same time, you still should be allowed to sit here and say, these are playing forever.
And Liverpool have changed something, haven't they? We're not playing to Salah like we were last season. And I don't think he wants us to play to him like we were last season.
Who are we playing to?
Well, this is the point.
The opposition.
They're centre half.
Last, 17-18, 4.4 shots per 90, 2018-19, 3.7, then 4, 3.5, 4.3, 3.3, 3.8, last season 3.2, this season 1.77 shots per 90, like half, and his shots on target are less than half. It's always between 1.2 and 1.8, and it's now 0.63. Like, they've halved. Like, he's not having anywhere near as many shots. Because we are trying to work in Alexander Isak, we're trying to work in Hugo Ekitike. I think we are future planning in some regard, where it can't just be the Mo Salah show forever. We know there's going to be something where there is a drop-off at some point. We might have actually hit the drop-off at the worst possible time, which is when we're just trying to get something else, rather than, maybe if Salah was in the same form as he was last season, this would still all be fine. But maybe we are seeing the decline of Mo at the worst possible time. But equally, it could just be form. It's 2 months of bad form, and you never know. He could just start banging them in again, and that's the horrible thing. I think for Slot right now is he probably doesn't know whether he's gone over the cliff or he's just in a bit of bad form with everything else that's gone on around the club as well.
There's a lot of that bad form stuff knocking around, isn't there? To be honest, so it's catching. I want
to talk about the last goal, unfortunately, before we do the final question on Slot and tactics and stuff. I'll start with you. I go back to the point I made earlier, and I think everyone kind of agrees with. If you've got 7 attack-minded players on the pitch, really, which Liverpool effectively do, it's not a massive surprise when you lose a goal from what is a normal defensive situation. Well, they tried the short corner to Mbeumo, clearly a tactic that they've worked on. Liverpool block it. Kirkes goes to meet the ball, which is that's his job. He goes to try and get to Fernandes. Fernandes' cross is wonderful. First time, excellent technique. But if you look at the back post, Cody Gakpo, who was there, he was massive, has legged it, and he's on the edge of the box when Maguire scores. Curtis Jones has pushed out. Dominic Szoboszlai's kind of frozen. He hasn't really reacted to it. And again, not natural back post defensive players. The only one who attempts to make any semblance of a challenge is Konate, and he's not close enough to it. That's what happens when you've had to throw all these lads on to try and score a goal. It's like you balance your teams way off. And listen, I will criticise all those players. They should still defend it better. But there is a natural instinct to defending that they just don't possess. It's why they're not defenders. And that's why you end up conceding Nketiah's goal and you at the back stick, and then you look at it again at Man United. It's no real surprise, that.
No, it's not. And like you said there, those players, for me, it's... You put all of these attackers on and you just believe that Liverpool are going to get back in the game because they've got so many attackers on the pitch, because they've got so many, players who can have a moment of magic. But the problem is that there's absolutely no game management for if Liverpool get back into the game. Like I mentioned earlier, there's not one single thought. And I think Slot even said in his post-match presser, he was like, maybe we forget, in those moments, our mindset is, score, and we kind of forget that we also have to do some defending at some point. And this is the problem. Like you said, they're not natural defenders. However, should the getting paid a heck of a lot of money, and the footballers, so they still should have some sort of game management or awareness around them to go, I should be picking up this space, I should be picking up that man, there's no one back post. Like, there should be someone organising that. Absolutely, there should be leaders on the pitch organising that. However, the lack of game management throughout any part of when Liverpool equalise is abysmal, from the lads up top to the defenders. There is not one bit of game management. And like I said, it's mad that I'm going into football games and you get back level on terms and both teams still think they can score and you can go on and get the winner, because there is no balance at all. And I think that's also on Slot, because maybe Slot should try and change it quicker, or maybe there should be a thought of, if this gets us back into the game, what formation are we instantly turning to? Who's going to cover which part of the pitch for things like set pieces? Because like I said, we're already a small team. Then you add even more attackers. How we score, they should put your goal on.
Is my opinion. You've got too many tackles on the pitch, you're balancing wrong. And I understand going for a win. If it's like Liverpool are so low on...
I think it's the way we played though as well.
I was going to say, do you think it's because we had so much success getting late winners? Do you think it's almost like a bit of foolishness on our behalf? In terms of like, we just believe we're going to be the ones to go on and win it. You know what I mean?
Maybe, I think it's naivety as well.
No, it is then. When you keep getting stung because of it, absolutely.
He's a gambler. And listen, sometimes he's gambled and he's turned... I think he knows draws are shit. And I think Arne Slot is...
Especially at home.
I think we've had 5 wins and 3 losses this season.
He definitely doesn't like a draw.
I think Arne Slot is happy to give up the chance of drawing to try and win a game. And that's his style, and whether you agree with it.
But that was not what we were last year.
Yeah, but we
were just controlling games.
We never had to gamble.
Also in this state, he played for a draw last week with the Endo sub.
Yeah.
Do you think? Yeah, maybe yes. That's a fair point. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's right. He's all over the place.
But back to what Chris said earlier. In terms of the way we played, like, Liverpool scored the goal, and is there not just a sense of someone on the pitch to go, lads, just box them in. It doesn't need to be this quick and so pressured. You've got 10 minutes plus at a time here. We can start passing it around again, keep them moving, just keep the pressure on. It doesn't need to be wave after wave after wave, where also you're probably going to concede, I don't get the way, because then they score and we start taking the sting out of the game a little bit and taking about 5 touches per person, which is not what... Yeah, but we weren't doing that.
He was trying to get Frimpong on, by the way. You went on notice in the ground.
He went back.
He was trying to get Frimpong on, but then we scored and he sat him down again. Yeah. So I don't know whether that was going to be...
That was for Gakpo. Yeah, that was for Gakpo, interestingly enough. The goal scorer that he was
looked like he was about to bring Gakpo off and maybe change sweep things around. So anyway...
What that would look like, I don't know.
That would have been free... He'd put Sobbo back.
In terms of personnel.
Sobbo was going back into midfield, isn't he? Anyway, this last one, I want to talk a few minutes before we take a break. Arne Slot. Let's have a conversation with Arne Slot, and I'll start with you, Chris, here at this moment in time. It feels like at this moment in time, either he doesn't know what the plan is, he isn't good enough at telling his players what the plan is, the players aren't following out the instructions, or the plan's wrong. And all 4 of those, for lack of a better phrase, all fall on him. He's the manager of the football club, and there's no way he wants Liverpool to play like they've played in all these first halves. There's no way he wants to be launching all these lads on. So where are we at in terms of what do we think the plan is and why isn't it working? I struggle to even try and have a guess at what we're trying to be. You said before, we're not trying to play through Salah anymore, and I agree. But I can't pinpoint exactly who we are trying to play through either. It feels very, Dan said the word, muddled before. It does feel muddled to me.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if he knows his best team ultimately, and I think sometimes when you say that, it's easy to talk about best team, and we shouldn't be talking about best team. We should be talking about squad and yada yada yada. But I do think every manager has an idea of the best team at the same point. In an ideal world, if everyone's fit, they know who they want to be playing every single week. I don't think Arne Slot does. I think he thinks that Szoboszlai has to be on the field, and I agree with that, by the way. But to the detriment of the team sometimes when he's starting to put him in random positions. Like for me, Szoboszlai has to be in the team, and he has to be in the midfield. And McAllister has to be in the team, and he has to be in midfield. And Gravenberch has to be in the team, and he has to be in the midfield. And Wirtz has to be in midfield as well, and he has to be in the team. And that in essence is the problem, because he only plays 3 midfielders. So he needs to find a way of getting, or just accepting that one of them isn't going to be in the side. And it probably should be the guy who's in the worst form. And the worst form for me is Alexis McAllister right now. So I'd just get rid of him right now and go, right, this is our midfield. Let's see if we can get this working. Because even when we've gone back to McAllister, Gravenberch and Szoboszlai, and was it Palace that we did that? Or it was Everton,
Arsenal?
Arsenal.
Arsenal,
and Arsenal, right? They're not playing in the same way as last season. No. It's just nothing like it. So I don't think I'm not sure there's any benefit from playing the same 3 players as last season, because you're not asking them to play the same way as last season, because everything sort of changed around it. So I don't know, Ran. I find it really difficult at the moment. But listen, Slot's in. Everyone will have played Footy Manager. And sometimes when your team's fucking pairing, anything you do works. And then you go through a period, you played enough Footy Manager, you go through a period where everything you do doesn't. It feels like he's in that period, but he's trying to find something that will fucking work, and nothing's working right now. He just needs one of those things to work and just sort of turn the tide a little bit, as it were. And I think anyone who's played Footy Manager gets into that. And that's what it kind of feels like is happening at the moment. And, maybe a couple of lucky results, and we might turn the corner, but I don't know, man. I just don't think we're playing very well. I don't think the players are playing particularly well. I don't think he's making particularly good decisions. And it sounds harsh, but that's a lot of problems.
Other than that, it's all fine, yeah.
It's fascinating though, isn't it? Because just quickly, it felt like even earlier on, just cast your mind back 3 or 4 weeks ago, every single decision or substitute he made seemed to come up trumps for him, brings Chiesa on, brings Virangamoa on. He had the Midas touch even this season. It's just all of a sudden, seemingly overnight, things have just absolutely spiralled out of control. He can't seem to find a solution anywhere. But it's just, we've got to back him to get it right, of course. I think the out stuff is just completely wild and off the charts, quite frankly. But just on your point about Szoboszlai, I think you said it earlier on upstairs, he has to be in the team right now, absolutely. But if you talk about plan and sort of what was the conversations around the summer, I don't think the plan was for Szoboszlai to be in the best 11. He sort of forced his way into that reckoning. You know what I mean? I think the Wirtz, McAllister, Gravenberch was probably going to be the midfield. It just simply cannot be now based on form.
We'll see how Arne Slot responds. We're going to go to a break and we've got loads of super chats, so I'm trying to get through as many of these. Yeah. I mean, some of these I'm going to drop bombs on some of you.
Can't wait.
Who wants bomb number 1?
Chloe.
Okay. Chloe, what are your thoughts on people criticising Arne Slot for going on holiday during the international break when they're playing 3 games in a row?
Are you sure you don't want us to give it to Dan?
No, just for you, this one.
Look, it's not... When Liverpool... If he could have gone to Dubai on holiday after Liverpool had won 4 back-to-back, and that would have been a lot better.
It's not talking point then.
No, I think... I'd have loved him to have been trying to figure out something tactically, but maybe he thought he just needed to get away from it. I'm not really sure. I would have preferred him to be at the AXA trying to work on things, but then half of his players aren't there anyway. That's a tough one for me. I was surprised to see he'd gone away, because I was assuming he'd be working at the AXA trying to figure something out with his coaching staff about what they're going to try and do, or the fixes. But also at the same time, if he said to me, my head is kettled, I need to get away from here, I also could have understood why he'd have done that as well.
Next point then from Martin Lawrence. I don't think it's the same famous actor, but he says, I think our biggest problem right now is that this run is going to dent the fan base confidence and the manager and the new players' confidence. That he's got to be very careful of that, Dan. Like, he really does. Like, losing becomes a bad habit. And look, we've spoke here for a long time, and mostly negative. Like, he has to be very careful that this doesn't spiral into his players and into himself.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the new signings point is a really sort of poignant one, because a lot of the establishment, a lot of lads who've been there, seen it and done it for Liverpool and indeed previously, have been through runs like this before. They've seen similar, you know what I mean? And they've come out the other side of it and they've managed to have success and achieve off the back of it. The new players have come into this football club over the course of the summer expecting something completely different, and now they're faced with this. It's really imperative that we sort of keep the morale up and the confidence going somehow. Really difficult to do when you can't find the win. But yeah, that's a big job for the manager. I think in terms of managing minutes and managing sort of expectations around what the new signings look like and what they're going to be in the side's one thing. But yeah, it's absolutely crucial that he manages to keep spirits up whilst you are in the doldrums like we are right now.
Ads says our throw-ins are dreadful. No, we used to gain advantages with our throw-ins.
Set pieces exclusively.
No, we just hand the ball back every time. Yeah, Liverpool's throw-ins yesterday were some of the worst I've ever seen. I would agree with that one. Klopp King says, I think it's showing the lack of a pure DM in this team is starting. Sorry, I think it's showing the lack of a pure defensive DM. Sorry, is starting to show this season, and the top one. Thoughts? Gravenberch defensively? Are we getting played through the middle? I don't know.
Yeah, we are getting played through the middle. Yeah,
absolutely. We're getting played everywhere.
Absolutely, but through the middle, man. 100%. Like, you know, I don't think that all of the problems are based on Ryan Gravenberch, but do I think that a defensive midfielder would make us more solid? Yeah, of course I do. I've always thought that. I thought that last season. An out one. But also, what's it take away? Yeah, like, they're the questions, isn't it? You know, last season, we could have had a really top DM, but we wouldn't have got as many points on the board. I think Gravenberch was doing really well. There's times yesterday where Gravenberch did really well. I think he loses the ball, then tracks back, and he's fouled as he wins the ball back from someone. That's great.
That's his ankle, isn't it?
Absolutely, that's probably the ankle one. Yeah, you're right. That's great work. I don't think he is. Again, I come back to it. A lot of the player form stuff is the player form, but I don't feel like, Gravenberch is a player form thing. I feel like that's a system thing. Yeah, do you know what I mean? I just think there's lads all over the shop and he's just stood there going, great, I've got really big legs and they're really long, but this is fucking sideline to sideline here, but he's on my own.
And then
come on,
you're not wrong. I brace to those people. I get yours a bit, mate. Hang fire because can't. Really...
Sorry, on that, I do think we need one in the squad though. Like, even if you don't play them every week, having a fucking proper DM that's got legs is a really good thing, because don't throw Endo at me.
I think you might be right. Aaron says, surely it's time to get Chiesa in over Mo. I think some of us agree with that one. Get Gomez at right back. The only issue with that at the moment is that he's the centre back. Like, you can't play every game because then you've got no centre half.
You can't have three centre halves on the pitch when you've only got three centre halves.
And
the problem with playing Joe Gomez is the likelihood is you're going to end up with two centre halves.
Yeah.
It's a big problem.
Yeah, it's a big problem. I'd even go Hugo.
Pandora's box of centre backs. Have you got a centre back? I don't know.
You don't know what he is. Hugo for Isak, and I'd go Wirtz for Gakpo. I think a lot. We're going to speak about that in a bit as well. So we're hang fire. Yeah, we're going to go to a quick break. In part 2, we're going to have a quick look ahead towards Frankfurt and Brentford, with more so on what Arne Slot might and can do to perhaps address what has been a very, very worrying few weeks for Liverpool. We'll catch it on the other side of this quick break. Hey everyone, at the end of October we are going to be giving away this signed Liverpool shirt, and it is not just signed by one LFC legend, it is signed by 5 of them. You've got women's superstar sensation Natasha Dowie, you've got Sammy Lee, you've got Gary McAllister, you've got Bruce Grobbelaar, and you've got goal scoring machine John Aldridge's signature on this shirt. If you want to win it, simply head to redmenplus.com, become a legend tier subscriber, get all of our amazing content in both video and podcast forms, and loads of extra perks and bonuses as well, including this shirt. It was signed at our end of season party, and by the way, Jags from the Ragamuffins, he signed it too, and if you want, or if you don't, whatever, some of the Redmen TV crew can sign it for you as well. It is a truly unique prize. redmenplus.com, become a legend by the end of October and you'll be in the prize draw. Good luck. Welcome back to the show right then. Yes,
maybe if it fell out, Cliff.
The super chat. Let's move on. don't.
There's a chance.
Brace DeVille has asked before, our next 6 matches are Frankfurt, Brentford, Palace, Villa, Madrid and City. How many points do we get? Well, Palace is a cup game, so we can exclude that. In terms of picking up points in both competitions, Liverpool have to get something out of Frankfurt, Brentford, Villa, Madrid and City. And on current form, Brace DeVille, the answer will be 0 because they don't win football games points-wise, Dan. They do need to get back on track. Big games. Therefore, it's... what can Arsenal do is the question. So I'm going to start with this one. Everyone has been saying, and I understand that, get back to basics, whatever. The system's system. Can we just get lads in the system but who are playing well? Yeah. So shall we try and make a Liverpool 1 to 11 of informed players?
Yeah.
I propose to you, and by the way now, Ryan Gravenberg's injured. Yes. Which is, because he would have been in this one.
And Alisson's injured.
So
we haven't got a keeper.
Well, Mamadashvili's in goal for now.
In form, though.
Oh, yeah, we haven't got one. We don't know he's in form. He's been good. I thought he's been okay.
I think some of the criticism was somewhat harsh yesterday, but then he also dropped quite a pretty simple cross into the path of Mason Mount. And that was a little bit alarming.
Even Ali's not had one of them this year, though.
No, keepers do that sort of thing, yeah. But yeah, it's fine. He's fine. He's our goalie, ultimately.
Over the course of the season, if you were saying to me who's in good form for Liverpool, it would have been Van Dijk up until yesterday, but I think would anyone disagree with that?
Well, yeah, what constitutes good form, I guess? Just,
one bad game isn't good.
Okay,
yeah,
so as a collective over the course of the season.
What you think.
Yeah.
I would put
Van Dijk's in them.
Ekatike, Chiesa, Szoboszlai.
Is Van Dijk in the defence on his own?
At this moment.
Yeah.
Curtis Jones for me.
Curtis Jones?
Every time he's came on a football pitch, I think he's
Curtis
in
Jones.
Yeah, I think he's been there or thereabouts.
Okay, so we've got Virgil at the back, a midfield of Gravenberch
and Jones,
Jones and Szoboszlai.
Yeah,
would be our midfield if it was a 4.
Well, he can't play right back because Chris is involved.
Yeah, that's fine. Ekatike would be centre forward.
Yeah.
Chiesa
would be on one of the wings.
Can we do Chiesa on the right?
Because we've got Gakpo.
I think Gakpo on the left.
Okay, there you go then. It's got to be Kanate. I know he's not in good form, but it's Gomez or Kanate. This is my point. We've picked a team who's in form and we can't get to 11. So this idea of picking everyone who's in good form, we're already a little bit hamstrung yet.
But we knew that. We knew we were going to struggle.
So what do you want to do?
So I just the 3 players.
I'm guessing would all say Bradley, Kanate, Robbo would be the majority.
Bradley is...
Frimpong?
No, I don't want either. Just don't give me a right back at this point.
Okay, we're playing with 9.
Well, it feels like we're doing that already.
Yeah. I don't think Kanate's in that bad form, if I'm being honest.
I thought he was good yesterday, actually. I thought he was pretty good.
I thought he was good yesterday.
I think before that he was.
I think he's been below his par, definitely. I think he's been average. But I think he's had a couple of really bad passes, don't get me wrong, and I get that. But I wouldn't say he's been the wild shite. Like, do you know, he's not been that bad, has he?
Yeah, I get you.
I think Crystal Palace away first half.
I reckon Crystal Palace was pretty wild shite. I reckon there was tissue paper needed after that one.
What is it you have to stop the shite? Is like Imodium,
yeah.
I'd have been looking for the Imodium.
Well, I think he had it at that time because the second half was well better.
Yeah, but that
and
first half
he got taken off.
He got subbed on the bench because he had too much Imodium. I think second half at Newcastle he might have needed the Imodium. When he's letting the ball bounce over his head. But I'm with you. Like, this is the point of that. The informed team, that might be what he goes to, Dan, and it is what it is. He's not going to make that many wholesale changes, but I think he has to go.
We can't have Gravenberg, actually, can we?
We've got no Gravenberg, so he's got to go out.
Florian Wirtz has been put in the midfield.
Jones could actually play number 6.
Yeah, Sobo's already in there.
And then
Wirtz. And then I'd have to put
Szoboszlai and Jones with Wirtz ahead.
Yeah.
Wirtz has to start this game. Maybe he had a reason.
So much better form than McAllister.
No, he is, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think I might be, to be honest. With that cap on as well. What did he look like with that cap on?
Like a water polo player.
It was bad, wasn't it?
He did. I may have used the Johnny as a thing on my last reaction last night.
Yeah, the Johnny on his head. He wasn't penetrating anything, so we're all right.
No, he was not. Anyway.
Didn't even know if he had them. What's wrong with the old tape? Like,
also,
you know what I mean?
it happened really quick. He just got up with it on. Like, he didn't see it happen or anything. He just suddenly had this gap.
We get to use them.
Right, listen, I want to let's talk about it now.
Get distracted.
I think I'd get subbed off.
As opposed to wear that?
Yeah. Especially me. Well, imagine me with that on my head. It would look like a Johnny. Imagine it would look like a swimming cap on me. At least he had some hair sticking out the side of it. I couldn't wear that.
Have like a belt that like
No, it was a proper water polo thing. I think I'd go off. I think I'd get concussion. I'd be like, so lads, I'd fail a concussion test on purpose. What day is it? It's Sunday and then you see that hat.
What day is it? 7 o'clock.
I need to go swimming, boss.
can't wear that hat. I can't have it on. I can't have that on. Anyway, yeah. So he can't play. He can't play with that hat on.
No.
So he's out the team anyway.
So Jones.
That's not the only reason. He can't play with
Bad
that
fashion.
Yeah, you can't have that hat on.
Jones, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, yeah?
Yeah.
Midfield sounds done. Don't know who's playing right back.
Jones, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, yeah.
I go Conor Bradley. We've got to persist with something. We've spoken all along, and it flies in the face of everything that Arne Slot believed in last season. All this swapping and changing.
We don't have a fullback in form, by the way.
We haven't got an in form. No, we haven't got an in form.
Both right backs and both left backs, I think, are struggling.
Yeah, I agree.
For a whole myriad of different reasons.
Yeah,
that is an issue as well. I think I would probably err towards Frimpong, Kirkes.
Another change, however. Oh my God.
I think, but I'm not happy with it. I'm not happy with that at all.
Kirkes still.
I'm not having Robbo. I can't.
You're just exclusively.
I just don't think he can run anymore. And I'm sorry. I love Andy Robertson to bits, and I think he's amazing.
Doesn't sound like it though. That's like definitely what someone would say doesn't like him anymore. Like if you're trying to cover it up.
I just don't think he can run. I think at Burnley away when we were 90% of the ball, he's way better attacking than Kirkes at this moment in time, which is mad. But I just don't think I would really worry about that. Well, listen, it's not exactly going swimmingly now. So if you want to change your file, I'm not going to. I'm not dying on that hill. You know what I mean? It's a very soft stance. I was tweeting about Kostas Tsimikas yesterday. I was in all kinds of my feelings yesterday. Like it's messy. It really
saw somebody ask for Lucas Stevenson back off Dundee United really, at one point themselves the right back.
Oh, they beat Celtic yesterday.
Yeah.
2-0.
I did ask. There's people in the chat asking like various questions throughout the game. I was like, "Has Endo ever played fullback?" I was like, "Don't want that."
The injured Endo as well, by the way, right now. Yeah,
it's not.
Did we get to 11 players?
No, we got to 7.
So what's have we settled on Robbo at left back here yet?
I have.
You have. That's fine. I'm happy to be outvoted.
I'm honestly not asked. Both of them are crap. Right now.
Robert, I struggle with that.
Okay, that's fine. So yeah, but that's kind of where we're at. So anyway, on those joys.
So who's at right back?
I chose Frimpong. Have a vote gone.
Yeah.
I'm going
Believe in
Frimpong.
something, Arne.
I'm going to go Frimpong as well.
It's not great, is it? Anyway, that's
what did you say?
Bradley. Staunchly as well.
Okay.
Staunchly.
Because I'll let Dan's staunchness be the type. Are you picking Bradley?
Yeah, no.
Are you picking Frimpong? Oh, there you go, you fucked. It's funny, there you go. So.
She's not delighted about it, though, is she?
No. But I thought it was 2-2, and then your staunch was going to win, but now you've won, so it's fine. That goes to like Liverpool are a little bit all over the place in terms of what they need to do. It's massively important. I know it goes back to saying it's obvious. They did lose the last time they played in the Champions League. You can't be really. You don't want to be 2 defeats out of 3. And the thing, Liverpool haven't lost 5 games on the spin, Dan, since the 50s, according to LFCSD I was reading today. And the last manager to lose 4 was Brendan Rodgers. He didn't lose 5. No one else has since. Slot really needs a win or even a draw. Just don't lose. You can't lose another game of footy.
They tonked Galatasaray, didn't they?
5-1.
Yeah.
You got goals on their side, mate. Real goals.
They score loads of goals and they concede loads of goals, which sounds a bit like us, except we don't score many loads recently.
So not really like us then?
He did say a bit like us.
Yeah.
Okay.
At the start, us at the start of the season. It was in the Community Shield Bournemouth era. That was our bit. That was our now we're in the shit era. That was the promising with the Luded era. It massively important. I know you're travelling over there. I'm guessing at this point you go more with hope than expectation, which is a really sad place to be.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, I can't wait for the 21's match before it. A little bit. I'm forever the optimist when it comes to Liverpool. That's just the way I am. It's inbuilt in me, for good or for bad, really. I actually think it's must win. You allude to the fact that a draw.
I just think they can't lose. That's what I'm saying.
You're right. Yes, you are right. Listen, would I take that right now? Absolutely. I would in many senses. Yeah, but I think to instill a bit of that belief and confidence back into the fan base, back into the manager in certain aspects as well, certainly into the players, I think a win is absolutely crucial. It's difficult, obviously going away in the Champions League is always tough. Frankfurt have got goals in them, they're in the round where they'd expect to be in the Bundesliga, they've replaced their attackers quite well with similarly dangerous attackers, so it's not going to be an easy night's work, far from it. And I guess just when you sort of boil it down to the Champions League in isolation, we always say win your home games, you'll naturally pick up points away from home. But the minute you have gone back-to-back defeats in the Champions League away from home, that puts an enormous amount of pressure on the home games, which aren't a cakewalk with Real Madrid coming to town, are they? So, yeah, I think it's absolutely crucial that we do manage to pick up 3 points by hook or by crook. Yesterday, I sat in the pre-match stuff and said, I want to see performance today, sort of get that out of our system, come back in a bit of style. Don't get any of that. Obviously, we lose the game as well. So now I am in the camp of just fucking win by any means necessary.
You said you were optimistic. There was Paul Senior, a mate of ours, not very optimistic, eh, Chloe?
No, I was in the car on the way home, and he put a tweet out saying, "Just remember that I'm going to Frankfurt, for fuck's sake." And then
I love Germany, so I'm in slightly different.
Someone replied saying, "Never wanted a flight cancelled more in my life."
Yeah, everyone's dreading it. I'll be honest, right? Very, 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 very rarely do I ever say I'll take a point for Liverpool.
But you would right now.
Oh, mate, by your
I
hand.
said that at Stamford
I would
Bridge.
snap your hand off at a point right now. We just can't lose 5 in a row.
Stop the rot
thing. Rot.
Okay.
I'm okay. 4 points out of 3 in that Champions League, and it's not ideal, but you can get through. It doesn't kill you in this mad phase.
Playing Champions League possum here.
I'm playing a little bit of. I'm playing Champions League. I'm shitting myself that we lose 5 in a row, and I have to go to Brentford with the chance to lose 6 in a row. Because if you lose 6 in a row, massive questions start getting asked, huge questions start getting asked.
But if you lose 4 in a row, then draw 1, then lose another 1.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but I think the players are so. I think losing becomes a bad habit, and just break the habit. Listen, last night I wouldn't have took a draw before yesterday. Absolutely not, because they're shit. I am a bit concerned about Frankfurt. I know they concede loads. I've got 18 goals in 7 league games. They conceded. Atletico Madrid, like the commenter before mentioned, battered them. They scored, but then they also battered Galatasaray, and it's all a bit of a.
They're dangerous, especially at home. They will pose a serious threat because they've got goals in their team. Young Turkish side scores goals. They've replaced Ekatike and Marmoush quite impressively, actually. So.
And this is my point. Liverpool, I hate taking a point. And I think against Frankfurt, with all due respect to Frankfurt, I would never say that. But maybe that just shows where my confidence levels are at this moment in time. That I really think maybe you can, before you start climbing back up again, can you at least plateau out? Yeah. And hopefully, like the loss yesterday is like rock bottom in terms of Liverpool standards. Can you plateau out and then can you build up again? But it will be tough, Chris. It will be tough. You know, Brentford, they play tonight. I don't know exactly where they're at. They're not having they're not the Thomas Frank Brentford. They lost a lot of players, unfortunately. One of them to Man United yesterday scored against us. But these are 2 games where if you're not feeling great about yourselves, they're 2 oppositions who could pinpoint those fragilities, I guess. You know, Brentford with the long throw-ins and the set pieces and their style of play. Frankfurt are a very attack-minded style of play as well.
Absolutely. I mean, what is it? We've conceded 5 from set pieces so far this season already. Teams will continue, and teams are continuing. Man United did it. You know, the weakness is the fullbacks. Teams are thinking about our fullbacks, and teams are thinking about set pieces against us. We've got to prove that we can stop those things. That should actually probably, from all the talk that we've had today, is what are you got to do with Arne Slot? Right, Arne Slot has got to stop the fragility behind the fullbacks and stop us conceding from set pieces. That should be, this is how we stop, and there's where we plan from, and that's where we move forward from.
That long throw for Brentford's terrifying me. Have you seen his throwing?
That's what they're going to do.
Have you seen his throwing?
He's a monster.
Absolute rockers. Oh my God.
He's the best around at the minute. That.
I can't believe
a lot of people try it.
Look, we are down bad. I am down bad. I was tweeting about Kostas Tsimikas and I'm worried about Brentford's long throws.
But they've exposed that under Thomas Frank obviously a lot. Like they've really targeted it and have some joy out of it as well. Like
having said that, Chloe, next time we have a Redmen Originals podcast next Monday, Liverpool will have played 2 games of football. You'll have watched both of them. How many wins do you think they'll have out the next 2 if you had to say right now, honestly?
I've seen no signs of Liverpool winning a game of football. I've seen signs of Liverpool conceding a lot of goals. And then, you know, I'm probably going to expect a last-minute winner for the opposition at some point once we've thrown 7 attackers on.
It's so fatalistic. I'm going to say draw in Germany, win at Brentford.
Brentford away?
I think we'll win, yeah. I think we stop the rot on Wednesday and I think we beat Brentford.
Okay, I'd like that.
I'll take it.
I'm not sure I see it.
Chris? Come on, Kenny, leave forward. There you go.
An optimistic draw midweek, and then a very optimistic win against Brentford.
Yeah, the same boat.
I'm with you. I don't know how.
You think they're going to win on Wednesday, don't you?
Yeah, of course I do, yeah.
He's going, of course.
Yeah, I'm going, yeah. I think we win both.
Otherwise you can't get on the plane.
We'll beat Brentford because I'm going that one.
Well, I think we win, but I think if we win Wednesday, that springboards us into winning at the weekend. But there is a fear in me that we lose midweek, which does the opposite.
What?
It means we end up losing both.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Dan.
I think it was one or two ways. I think it was one or two ways, genuinely. They're sort of the extremes of which my thought process.
Anymore,
exactly,
so.
Yeah. That's where my extremes are at.
I know what won't happen. We won't draw. I've not seen us draw all season.
No.
I think we're due one.
The worst case scenario in my mind there leads into all kinds of conversations next week, by the way.
Oh, mate, if they lose the next 2, there are massive questions. So the manager is under pressure.
Yeah.
Everything is on the table at that point. Whatever question you're asking, every player is for sale. Everyone's shit. The manager needs to, like, all these questions. It's
open season, isn't it, next week? Because I think we can throw away the slot out stuff right now as just like, online talk, with all due respect to everybody, because I think that is a bit premature personally. But if you go, what would be 6 at that point, then I think, like I say, it is.
I think it is premature at Liverpool. I think there are clubs in the country where it's not premature.
If you lose
any chance Nottingham Forest is the person.
Forest, certainly.
Chelsea
as well. They've had league winning managers and sacked them the next season. Like, that is it. For Liverpool, I do think it's nonsense right now. But there is a tipping point where it becomes not nonsense anymore, and you have to consider it.
We'd have to at least ask the question and entertain at that point.
The only caveat I'd throw at that, by the way, I agree wholeheartedly, but when I'm trying to sort of put myself into people's shoes as to why it's getting said, and some of it is just extreme and kind of whatever, but with the expenditure in the summer, you know what I mean, that might change the thinking ever so slightly, not just from like a fan's perspective and what our expectations are and were, but from an ownership point of view as well. I'm not saying for 1 second they are, but when you have shelled out, wild expenditure for our standards, you do wonder whether that's shifted their thoughts and what we sort of believe to be true about how secure the manager's place is.
Everyone has that devil on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Like, everyone does, don't they?
Mine was telling me to get Costas Timmercast to hobble over this.
That's it. So everybody has that. There are people who will be in charge of Liverpool who have that devil on the shoulder as well, is what I'm trying to say, where they think, can we trust him to spend another however many million? That might be as simple as a thought as that, but that can grow, can't it? You know what I mean? So I agree with you, Dan. I think there will be people thinking about it, and they should be thinking about it in the background. That's what you have to do when you're running a huge fucking multinational conglomeration of a football club that Liverpool are. Thankfully, or hopefully, we don't have to follow that plan through. It's a
they're way less emotional as well, I think, at times than we are. And listen, for all the fatalistic, there'll be people out there saying Liverpool have lost 4 games, right? And they've lost 4 games to a dodgy penalty and 2 last kick of the games and an 85th minute winner. Like, that'll be the rational thinking, which nobody is doing at this moment in time, and there will be rational thinkers involved in it as well. So
Can I give you my rational thinking? My rational thinking, honestly, is from the Jota thing in the summer. You can almost write off the season for me. I could have taken that at the start of the season, and it's not a nice thing to have to think about or anything else. I think as the season goes on, it becomes harder and harder to think like I did in the summer. And I think in this world as well, it's really hard to talk about it because Liverpool have spent so much, like Dan says, but is there a reason why all of our players who were big leaders last season don't seem to be in good form? I don't know. I'll leave that one out there for you to think about. Is there something that they all went through together that might suggest... Because they're not all bad footballers overnight. They're not all ageing. McAllister... Well, they are all aging. That's how the world works. But they're not all, ridiculously old in terms of football, are they? No. You know what I mean? So we've spent loads of money. They've all gone through a trauma. I felt we were primed to dominate for 2, 3, 4 years. And that's where the disappointment and anger perhaps this season has come from. But if you told me in 3 years' time that we wrote this season off but we got back to it in the next 2 or 3, then I think with hindsight you could look and go, what was the difference between that season and the others?
Maybe, we'll find out in due course. Last two we have to get to before we leave. Butter Knight says, I think we need to be honest. We've bought a couple of players who haven't worked. Now we're forced to go and buy more in January. Jeez, if you're looking to get any money left, any dough left in the try and get Mark Gay in maybe, and that's about it. We spent all the dough. But maybe
what would Gay be out of interest? Because we set the barrier at 10 million quid for 30 days.
Well, we will pay, what was it, 45 on deadline day? We wanted to pay 35. Oh God.
He looked like 25, 20.
Does his performance at the weekend knock like a few million off his price tag as well?
What a game of football.
We will be speaking about that. That is coming up next. Actually, we're going to end the show here. Up next on Redmen Plus, the biased football podcast. There is a team of in the Premier League who would sack a manager after 39 days because they've just done it. We'll be speaking about Nottingham Forest deciding to fire Ange Postecoglou. We'll be having a little look at Newcastle, City, Arsenal, and maybe Champions League stuff as well throughout the course of that show. If you want to get involved, head on over to Redmen Plus. Get some therapy. Maybe don't have to listen to us talk about Liverpool for a while because we're all fed up with doing that for a few days. Come on, let us laugh at some other teams and maybe maybe unfortunately have to praise some of them as well. Thanks to Chris, thanks to Chloe, thanks to Dan, thanks to you guys for watching or listening. Catch us all next week. See you in a bit.